Hello everyone, welcome to S.A.S videos by Stock Market Astrology Stats. Today, we will share some fun and insightful stats on the stock market experience of people on curated data, based on their moon position in all houses in the natal chart. First of all, we want to inform you that all contents shared are only for entertainment of general public. Contents are not to be considered as any sort of recommendation or advice. This video is not intended to promote any actions in capital market. Also, all data that is used in this video are publicly shared data with S.A.S team and are subjected to lot of noise and errors. No private data of any person is fetched or will be shared through channel. So let's begin with stats for Moon. This chart shows the cumulative returns of all houses for quick comparison. We were able to collect about 650 plus records and returns until 2022 March. Not everyone are completely sure about their planet positions or the current investment performance. Some people just shared their approximate date of birth and we had to calculate it using software. Regarding their stock market performance, we did not ask for any sort of private or personal information and just took their word of mouth. Mostly it's a ballpark figure from their memory. We have also averaged out decimal positions to round figures for simplicity. So, what's the overall stats for Moon in all houses? The best 3 houses are the 8th house with 18% return, 10th house with 17% and the 7th house with 16% return. The difference between houses are narrow and also shows us the insight that performance of masses are not very far off from the performance of benchmark indices. The good outperformance of the 8th house has surprised us all. Many here at S.A.S videos were not expecting to see 8th house to come on top. Good performance of other 2 houses was in line with expectation. This is one beauty of collecting data and running some simple stats. The last 3 houses are the 2nd house with 7% return, 3rd with 8% and the 5th house with 9% return. This is even bigger surprise than 8th house. Many here at S.A.S videos consider 2nd, 3rd and 5th house to be good positions for Moon. Then why did people with these positions had such underperformance? Honestly, we don't know. Now, this may not mean that people with Moon in these 3 positions will not get good returns in stock market. There is huge volatility in performance and position of remaining planets may also make big difference in returns. In certain cases, due to some big underperformance of few records, the overall performance of the house gets averaged down. Now let's move on to see some stats related to each individual house. Moon in the 1st house. We were able to collect about 50 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 14% return. This is a nice return. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. So these people are comparatively quicker than some other houses. One thing noticeable is that, even though average return in good, the overall satisfaction from stock market is low. At 50%, only half of the people are satisfied with their stock market experience. We are not sure why it is so. Moon in the 2nd house. We were able to collect about 50 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 7% return. This is the lowest clocking house in records. The average age at which they joined stock market is 31. So these people are a bit late to stock markets and usually join after 30. The latest surge in users joining stock market has pushed down average age for most houses including this one. When it comes to satisfaction, we got a 30% value, which is quite low and is lowest among all houses. We don't know why as many considers 2nd to be a good position for Moon. Low returns can be a primary reason but can also include personal reasons, to which we are blind to. Moon in the 3rd house. We were able to collect about 45 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 8% return. This is the 2nd worst performing house on records. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. So these people are quite eager to join markets as early as possible. At 45%, similar to 1st house, Only less than half of people are satisfied with their stock market experience. Moon in the 4th house. We were able to collect about 55 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 15% return. This was the most favorite position among masses. At 15%, it has lived up to the hype as the 4th best performing house. The average age at which they joined stock market is 28. So these people usually join stock markets in and around late 20s. Almost 80% of the people with this position are satisfied with their stock market experience. Moon in the 5th house. We were able to collect about 75 plus records. This house has the highest number of records. On average, people with this position clocked about 9% return. That performance is below the normal. This house was also a favorite like 4th among masses, but unlike 4th house, data shows, its returns has not lived up to the hype. The average age at which they joined stock market is 26. So these people are also bit quicker to market, similar to 1st house. At 50%, only half of people are satisfied with their stock market experience. Real-world returns may not be living up to their plan. Moon in the 6th house. We were able to collect about 50 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 10% return. The average performance is bit below normal. One big noticeable aspect of Moon in 6th house is average age. The average age at which they joined stock market is 34. This house has the highest average age. So these people join markets a lot later than usual. The delayed joining may also play a part in the subdued performance, as more time gives more compounding benefits. Almost 80% people with this position are satisfied with their stock market experience. Moon in the 7th house. We were able to collect about 60 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 16% return. This is the 3rd best performing house. The average age at which they joined stock market is 28. So similar to 4th house, people with this position also join markets around late 20s. However, the overall satisfaction seems low for this house. At 50%, nearly half of them are not satisfied, even though returns are reasonably good for most of them. Moon in the 8th house. We were able to collect about 50 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 18% return. This is the best performing house. Really high returns from few star performers have inched up overall average of group. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. They are very quick to join stock markets. At 100%, almost everyone seems satisfied with this position. Only very few are not satisfied in this group. But more than expected results of few raises average to 100. Moon in the 9th house. We were able to collect about 50 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 12% return. That's quite a normal return. The average age at which they joined stock market is 29. Even though average age seems okay, there is huge volatility. If we remove few youngsters, average age rises much higher. Returns are quite stable. At 120%, people with this position are around 20% more satisfied with their stock market experience. A lot of them got much more than they were expecting. This house has the highest satisfaction level. Moon in the 10th house. We were able to collect about 50 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 17% return. That's a really good return and is also the 2nd best among houses. The average age at which they joined stock market is 24. So, among all houses, they are quickest to join stock markets. This house also has the lowest average age. At 85%, most are satisfied, with few exceptions. Moon in the 11th house. We were able to collect about 55 plus records. On average, people with this position clocked about 11% return. It's a very normal performance. The returns are also very stable. The average age at which they joined stock market is 30. mostly joining markets in the late 20s and early 30s. At 70%, satisfaction is below normal. Few, big regrets, averages down overall satisfaction of group. Moon in the 12th house. We were able to collect about 35 plus records. This house has the lowest records count. On average, people with this position clocked about 13% return. It's a good performance. Good performance of 12th house has surprised few here at S.A.S videos. Many here were expecting normal to below normal returns. But real-world results show sometimes our expectations can be very wrong. The average age at which they joined stock market is 27. So, they are neither late nor early to markets. Similar to 9th house, at 105%, people with this position got 5% more satisfaction from stock markets than their expectation. So, that's all for today from Stock Market Astrology Stats. See you all later in next video with stats for another planet in all houses. Till then, wishing everyone a good time. Thank you and God bless.